Have you ever checked your bank account the day before payday and thought, how am I here again? You make money. You work hard. You're not reckless. And yet somehow, the month always feels longer than your income. You promise yourself next month will be different. You'll save more, spend less, be more disciplined. But next month comes, and nothing really changes. So, what's actually going on? Why do so many smart, capable people stay stuck in the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle for years, sometimes decades? And more importantly, why does it feel so hard to escape? Let's talk about it. Most people think living paycheck to paycheck is just about income. If I made more, I'd be fine. And yes, income matters. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Plenty of people making $40,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Plenty of people making $80,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Even people making six figures live paycheck to paycheck. So clearly, this isn't just a math problem. It's a psychology problem, a lifestyle design problem, an identity problem. And none of that means you're bad with money. It means you're human. Because the paycheck to paycheck cycle isn't built by stupidity. It's built by invisible forces. Forces most people never stop to question. Let me ask you something. When money hits your account, what do you feel? Relief? Excitement? Or pressure? For most people, payday isn't abundance. It's relief. And relief triggers something interesting in the brain. When you've been in scarcity, even mild scarcity, your brain switches into survival mode. Survival mode is not designed for long-term wealth building. It's designed for short-term safety, which means you don't think about investing. You think about catching up. You don't think about optimizing. You think about exhaling. So what happens? You pay bills. You cover what's overdue. You finally buy that thing you've been postponing. And emotionally, it feels justified. Because it is justified. But survival mode never asks, how do I design a system so I'm not surviving next month? It just says, make it to the next payday. And when you repeat that cycle long enough, it becomes your financial identity. Here's something subtle. Most people don't dramatically increase their lifestyle. They slightly increase it. You get a raise, maybe $300 extra per month after taxes. You tell yourself, I deserve a little upgrade. So you move to a slightly better apartment. Upgrade your phone. Eat out a bit more. Subscribe to 2 more services. None of it feels crazy. But here's the math. If your fixed expenses rise with every raise, your financial pressure stays exactly the same. You make more. You spend more. You feel the same. And this is dangerous because it feels like progress. But nothing structurally changed. You're just running faster on the same treadmill. Let's talk about something most people avoid thinking about. Fixed expenses, rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, subscriptions, debt payments. These are commitments, and commitments create pressure. When 70–90% of your income is already committed before the month even begins, you don't have flexibility. You have obligations. And here's the psychological part. When you feel financially trapped, you don't make bold financial moves. You don't take career risks. You don't negotiate as aggressively. You don't experiment with side income because you can't afford instability. So your high fixed expenses don't just affect your savings, they affect your courage. And that keeps you stuck longer than you realize. Let me be honest with you. Most emotional spending isn't about luxury. It's about relief. After a long workday, after a stressful week, after feeling underpaid or undervalued, spending becomes compensation. You think, I work hard. I deserve this. And you do deserve good things. But here's the trap. If spending is your primary emotional regulation tool, your income will always have to fund your stress. Instead of building freedom, this is why high-stress careers often produce high spenders. The more stressed you are, the more you justify relief spending, the more you need the job that's stressing you. See the loop? Work stress, spend, need, job, more stress. It's not about discipline. It's about coping. You don't wake up wanting more. You just scroll. You see friends traveling, buying homes, upgrading cars, and suddenly your normal doesn't feel enough. Even if you were content yesterday, Social comparison doesn't always make you overspend dramatically. It raises your acceptable minimum. Your apartment feels smaller. Your wardrobe feels outdated. Your lifestyle feels behind. So you upgrade slightly and slightly and slightly until your paycheck is fully consumed by keeping up with people who may also be broke. That's the quiet tragedy. Here's something I've noticed. People focus heavily on income, but rarely on income growth strategy. They assume time equals raises, but that's not guaranteed. If your income grows 2-3% per year, but your expenses grow 5-8% per year, you are mathematically guaranteed to feel poorer over time, even if your salary number is bigger. So you feel confused. I make more than I did 3 years ago. Why does it feel tighter? Because your structure outpaced your growth. Breaking the cycle often requires one uncomfortable truth. Cutting expenses alone is slow. Growing income intentionally is powerful. But income growth requires risk, skill development, negotiation, or mobility. And those require mental bandwidth, which is hard to access when you're in survival mode. Let me simplify this. Wealth doesn't come from intensity. It comes from margin. If you save $50 per month consistently, that creates momentum. If you save $0 per month, even while earning well, you create stagnation. Most people don't lack intelligence. They lack margin. And margin feels small at first. It might mean living slightly below what you qualify for, driving a reliable car instead of an impressive one, delaying upgrades even after raises. That doesn't feel exciting, but margin buys options. And options reduce stress. And reduced stress improves decisions. Better decisions improve income. Income plus margin compounds. That's how the cycle reverses. Here's the part no one talks about. If you've always lived paycheck to paycheck, it feels normal. You may even say things like, "That's just how life is." Everyone is struggling. Money always disappears. Those aren't facts. They're identity statements. And identity drives behavior more than math ever will. If you see yourself as someone who just gets by, you'll unconsciously design a life that confirms it. Breaking the cycle requires something deeper than budgeting. It requires seeing yourself as someone who builds surplus, even if the surplus is small at first. How to start breaking it? Let's make this practical, not extreme. Practical. 1. Create visible margin, even 5% of your income. 2. Audit fixed expenses before variable spending. 3. Focus on one income growth lever this year. 4. Separate stress relief from spending. 5. Define enough before the world defines it for you. Notice something? None of that requires perfection. It requires awareness and small structural shifts. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, I don't see failure. I see someone operating inside a structure that was never intentionally designed. And structures can be redesigned, slowly, calmly, without shame. You don't need a financial miracle. You need margin. You need intentional growth. You need a lifestyle slightly below your capability, not at the edge of it. And once you create breathing room, everything changes. Because when you stop surviving money, you start directing it. And that's when the cycle finally breaks. If this made you pause and reflect, that's a good sign. It means you're not stuck. You're just becoming aware. And awareness is where financial freedom actually begins.